S4Y Academy. Poker out loud for $4,000. Is Matt Berkey a fraud? Is this a scam? That was the tone around S4Y because of this whole Doug Polk, Nick Airball, and Matt Berkey feud, and I wanted to get to the bottom of it. So I attended the S4Y Poker Out Loud Academy. Okay, so I am here at the property for day one of the S4Y Poker Out Loud Academy. Let's go. Hey, Edwin, nice to meet you.
My name is Miguel Gonzalez. I'm here because I want to improve my poker game.
Is it worth it?
My quick answer is absolutely.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Edwin, aka Poker Llama, and I've been in the poker game for about 2 years now. I'm a cash game player living in Las Vegas, been here for about 1.5 years now, and I make poker content, and I'm sure you ran into some of my content. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, so I'm sure you've seen some of my short videos. I wanted to give you my poker background so you know where this is coming from, the credibility behind it, etc., etc. And no, disclaimer, S4Y did not pay me for this. Matt Berkey didn't call me up to ask me to do this video because chances are he didn't know who I was before the academy. So he actually does. He retweeted my tweet the other day because congrats to him. He and Nick Airball finally ended the challenge that they had, the heads up challenge, and he won $1 million. Big dub for Matt Berkey. Thank you for retweeting me, by the way. This is not a biased review. I'm still going to go ham. I'm still going to give my critique and my honest feedback on this S4Y Academy. So let's go. Landon, you're taller than what I thought. Just, yeah, he was taller first. If you guys don't know what S4Y is essentially a poker training brand founded by Matt Berkey. And if you don't know who Matt Berkey is, please go Google him. But in short, he's a high-stakes professional poker player who's been in the game for a while now. And it's not only just like an academy, it's an actual brand where they have a subscription service that provides online access to courses. So like if you subscribe, you can go to the App Store, download the S4Y app, and then, you know, you have access to all of their content there. If you don't want to subscribe, they have a free roll category. So you can literally, for free, download the app and watch like a free roll catalog of courses that they have to help you improve your game.
So my name is Landon, and I'm from Scottsdale, Arizona. I actually heard about S4Y. There was a couple guys that play my local casino that were in the 2-3 streets, 600 buy-in, now just struggling. Then next thing you know, within a couple weeks, they come back and they're playing 5, 10, 10, 20 and crushing it. And I was like, hey, how did you guys make such a quick leap so quick? And they're like, oh, it's a S4Y program. Having the opportunity to work with Matt Berkey face to face, and being able to ask him questions at any time during the course of the day is priceless. Paying $4,000 to it at first I thought was a lot. However, the knowledge that you're going to learn from this, you'll be able to use for the rest of your life.
S4Y Poker Out Loud Academy is a 4-day experience. The first day is going to be a lecture day. Then it's a Poker Out Loud day, which is where you play poker all day and you put headphones on and you analyze your hands out loud. Even though we blocked those hands, I just don't expect him to check a lot of his pairs. And no one around you can hear you, even though people are skeptical outside of those walls that, you know, people might be cheating. We make sure, and they made sure that no one was cheating. So it's lecture day, play day, lecture day, play day. And S4Y does provide breaks in between. I think it's like after every 90 minutes, but they also provide lunch. Like not only is it lunchtime that they give you, but they provide the food, and every day it's like a different course. They're also going to provide bagels in the morning and fruit, snacks, things like that. So you're not on an empty stomach. You know, they have all the amenities that you need to be comfortable throughout this training experience. So the first day you're going to get there and it's going to be like this big house. You think you're going to go into the Only Friends home, but it's not. It's like a home studio where you walk in, and besides the kitchen being to your left with all of the food when you walk in, you're gonna see the Poker Out Loud section. So that's where you see all the wiring, the cameras, the lights, and the poker table, as well as like a monitor where you're gonna have Brian, aka the Tortoise, which is gonna greet you. He's gonna be there monitoring, looking at the hands, being there for the dealer for communication, and just there facilitating as well. So then beyond that, there's going to be a classroom-like setting. You're going to have the chairs rolled out, and then you're going to have Matt Berkey, Matt Hunt, and Landon Tice themselves up front instructing the lectures. So the lecture day and playing days are going to run the same from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So just keep that in mind. You will be sitting for a long time and you will be learning a lot of information. So in order to not give away or reveal a lot of the material or concepts, I'm just going to list some of the things that I took away from the lectures and how we're supposed to apply it not only to the Poker Out Loud segment of the Academy, but beyond that so that we can be winning poker players. So some of the things I got from day one lecture is they're going to focus a lot on strategy construction through GTO. So I will emphasize this, that Solve for Why is very GTO heavy. So if you've never played with or interacted with a GTO solver, the good thing is that they're there to translate and break down what the GTO solver is saying. So they're going to go over formations, they're going to create scenarios, they're going to do basically like trivia. There's like a interactive model in the solver where you're able to say check, fold, call, raise, like all those things. And it'll tell you like 99% of the time you should call here, or you should fold here, or you should raise. And then they will explain why. And so that kind of ties into the pre-flop construction. So day one lecture, not only is it constructing strategy with GTO, but they're also going to help you understand pre-flop construction. So basically they're going to show you the pre-flop ranges for every position and why and what to do with those ranges if you're facing a 3-bet. Now, they're also going to be talking a lot about EV. They're going to be talking a lot about equity and how to differentiate those two, because those are two different things, but they're equally important to understand. And they're going to help you make better decisions along the way when you understand EV, how it's affected, and equity, how that's affected. So what I got from it is EV is affected based on multi-way pots, betting sizing, and bounding ranges and stuff like that. And also on the decisions you're making pre-flop. If you have a lot of leaks in your pre-flop game, then this is going to be very, very helpful for you, because they're going to help you understand why you should not be calling a lot and seeing a lot of flops. So that's some of the things that the students were saying is like, man, like I really want to see a flop with this hand in this situation. I normally would call with queen jack offsuit in late position against a 3-better out of position. It's like, no, the solver says you fold, so you fold, and this is why. And again, it's not my job to explain why. They will do a great job, in my opinion, to break down why, because the GTO solver is going to consider that you're playing in a high rake environment. And so it's always going to consider how, if you're only just calling a lot of your hands, you're losing EV, you're losing money in the long runs. And they're going to introduce identifying flop texture. So most of us, when we see like 2 spades out there, we automatically think, oh, there's a flush draw out there. Yeah, but what does that really mean? Like, is the board static? Is it fluid? Is it a dynamic board? You know, what does that mean, right? A dynamic board could change a lot of things for the players. A static board doesn't really change a lot on a like jack deuce board. You know, if a 7 of diamonds comes out and there's 2 spades out there, it doesn't really change much, versus a 6-5-3, 2 diamonds, 7 of diamonds comes out, 8 of diamonds comes out, or maybe 7 of hearts. Like, it just can change a lot, dynamic board versus a static board. And my point is, like, they're going to help you identify the textures, who it benefits, right? Does it benefit the pre-flop aggressor? Does it benefit you as the defender out of position? Who has range advantage? Who has net advantage? And they're going to help you explain what to do post-flop, right? They're going to help you with post-flop strategy, when you should c-bet, when you should check, when you should, like all those things. They will help you understand and construct a strategy by using GTO and the solver. And I think that's really neat. So that's just a quick summary of lecture 1, like day 1 lecture. And then day 2 is the Poker Out Loud segment of the Academy. This is where you'll get to play poker against your classmates. It is the Poker Out Loud that you see with headphones on. So that means you're gonna have music on with headphones, and you're not able to hear what people are saying. So you're gonna get there and you're gonna have the production crew there. They're gonna mic you up. They hire a dealer who's not only like, you know, a professional dealer, but they also have experience with dealing for Solve for Why.
I've been dealing for Solve for Why for about a year. I've been in the casino world for 31 years, around poker since 2000. I've dealt, been a supervisor, a poker room manager, tournament director, and I've seen it all.
So they already know what to expect. They're there to help the players. If like your mic is muted, if you're playing with the chips too much. This is a live stream. So they do have the RFID technology, which is where you scan the cards. They'll be able to see who has what. and all of that. So the purpose of this live stream is to give you live feedback while you're playing the hands. So you will have either Matt Berkey, Matt Hunt, or Landon Tice in the back control room, and they will be providing commentary, but this commentary is more on a feedback basis. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe you folded, guys. Like, no, it's no, this is what you're supposed to be doing in this spot. I like your thinking here, but the solver says this because X, Y, and Z, and therefore calling here might have been too light. So like they give you live feedback while you're playing poker. And that's like one of the benefits of playing poker out loud. You will be in a lot of heads up situations, not a lot of multi-way pots. Sometimes it can be daunting for some people. Like some people are very nervous to speak out loud because they don't want to sound dumb. That's how I felt. But again, you guys gain a lot of value from just being corrected in general. It goes a long way. And don't be afraid. Everyone's there to learn. Everyone's on the same page trying to get better there. And it's actually pretty fun because like you can actually listen in on the analysis when a hand's going on if you're not in the hand. So once I fold and I see these two guys heads up, I take off my headphones and I get to listen to their analysis, and you kind of have an idea of what they have. Sometimes they do actually tell you, like the listener, what they have based on like their thoughts. So you get to follow along the hand. So that's really neat. And then in between breaks, you're able to have access to the instructors. Like they're going to interact with you. They're going to engage. You can go up to Matt Hunt. You can go up to Matt Berkey and be like, hey, in that one hand, man, I should have folded, blah, blah, blah. And then they start to walk you through why they think, you know, you did the right or wrong thing. They start analyzing, breaking that hand down, give you examples of other scenarios of where that still applies. So yes, you get that feedback when you're listening and watching the playback, but like you can also talk to them in real time. For those of you who are nervous to speak out loud, forgot to mention that there's a card and it's like a little cheat sheet, and it's going to tell you and guide you what to look for. What's the board texture like? What do I have range advantage? How often am I c-betting here? Why am I c-betting here? Do I bet 25%? Do I bet 75%? And so like those are the things that you will be applying when you're playing in these hands. I didn't take a lot of notes for the day 3 lecture, but some of the things that I took away from is that they go more into depth with board textures, betting sizes depending on the texture itself. They're gonna go into capped versus uncapped ranges, what that means, how to apply that to your strategy. They're gonna talk a lot about position and how position gives you advantage, not just because you're the last to act to close the action, but because position allows you to realize equity at a cheaper rate. And also, guys, another thing that I learned through Solve4Y is checking to see where you're at is a huge no-no. It's a big flawed logic, and they will break down why that is. And most likely, if you're trying to bet to see where you're at, most likely you're in the middle of your range and you should be checking. Just take that, okay? Like, that is some of the things that you're going to be learning. And then for day 4, it's another playing day. So you're going to play poker out loud again, and you're going to apply everything that you learned day 1 lecture and day 3 lecture into your game. And most of the time you do see a lot of the students play better and analyze more in depth in the second poker out loud, which is expected. But overall, I think this intimate setting with like 8 to 10 students, I think $4,000 for those 4 days is, I think it's so cheap. A lot of people out there trying to improve their poker game are hiring coaching, taking online courses, and they're paying so much for it. But where else do you get to have this sort of unique, interactive, intimate experience? I felt like they cared about the students. They weren't egotistical. They were very, very well spoken, well instructed. It helps you really, really like identify what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you should be looking for, and the feedback, the real-time feedback. There's so much value in that. You get to have the live stream footage. If you're a content creator, that's great. If not, like you could still always go back and analyze your hands. I'm not just saying this, but I would highly recommend it. Just save up. The next time you win a big pot, just save a little bit of that, save a little bit of that until you have $4,000, and I promise the ROI is gonna go a long way. Like after this experience, it made me look back at all of my content and just want to delete it. I feel like after the Solve4Y experience, I definitely had to like reevaluate myself, and I took a step back and I'm like, man, like what you thought you knew, you didn't know. These guys really do care about you moving up in stakes, and they're mixing in a lot of GTO that a lot of the winning players today are studying and learning. Now you'll be able to understand and recognize why those advanced players at your table are doing what they're doing. So Solve for Why team, I have some feedback. I think some of these things will help you improve your overall experience to students, and some of these things students actually gave me from their perspective. So I think some of these things will help. Number one is visuals. Although that touchscreen monitor is big, I don't think it's big enough to help the students sitting in the back, especially students who have not ever interacted with a GTO software. Not only are they listening to you, taking notes, trying to retain all this information, but they're also trying to see what the solver is saying. All they're probably seeing is a bunch of blocks with color coding. That's just one note. If it's still working for you guys, great. I just think a larger visual for the solvers would be great. A second one is the red line versus blue line concept. I don't want to explain what that is. I know you guys know what that is, but the red line versus blue line, you guys had introduced it, but there was no slide or visual for it. Not everyone's gonna know what that means going in there. I think some of the feedback during the live Poker Out Loud experience could be a little too harsh from specific instructor. It could be a personality thing. Again, I think some of the feedback was coming across too blunt or too strong, making the player feel like everything they were doing was wrong, or like, they were inadequate. I didn't feel that way. That wasn't me. Maybe a little bit of more of a positive reinforcement tone, not positively reinforcing their bad logic. So I think there's a way to kind of mix in the straightforwardness, the correction with a more positively enforced tone. So overall though, I think the classroom sizing is great. I think anything bigger is it just becomes chaotic and nuanced. And I think the intimate setting just provides more value. I personally think that you should keep charging what you're charging. I think the price point is fair. I don't think you should change it. That's my overall feedback. I mean, take it for what it's worth. I'm just a content creator and I don't play high stakes, not yet, but I did learn a lot from Solve for Why, and I'm still a subscriber and I will keep being an advocate for it. Thank you guys for watching if you did make it this far, and I look forward to Solve for Why just getting bigger and bigger. So thank you guys again, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.